Let's open a Thrush Nightingale song as an example of segmentation. Here it is right here. We open it. Change the contrast a little bit to make it look nicer. Let's play it. Okay. So how we segment that? The simplest method would be just to play with amplitude threshold, and now starting moving that slider up and down. This is right here the amplitude threshold, and you consider there are some sounds here that we don't really see in the derivative because of the contrast. We can of course change contrast up and down and see this introductory note. Another thing that we can do is look at the sonogram, and now you can see it maybe a little bit better. Let me eliminate the amplitude, and I can go up and down here. But you can see that usually we see crisper representation with the derivatives. Let me now go down a bit so we can see better boundaries. And again, let's look at the amplitude and let's try to segment it. I can go up with the amplitude like that. And as I'm passing the threshold, you can see that I segmented this introductory note and this 3-0. Let me go up in the contrast a little bit so you can see it better. It's very faint, but it's real. And I'm going up, but now you can see the problem that when I'm starting to segment well in the louder part, I'm starting to lose the lower amplitude part. So when I'm starting to do better here, I already have nothing there. Let me change the contrast a bit here. So how to solve that problem? One way around that is to forget for a moment about this threshold and go here and click Find Segmentation. And now we have two filters, a coarse one and a fine one. In order to see that, I'm going to update the display and I'm going to click Filters. And now you see the two filters. The white line is showing you the coarse filter, whereas the black line showing you the fine filter. Now, if you want to play extreme for a moment, we will be able to take the fine all the way to 0, and then it will be equivalent to the actual amplitude. And then take the coarse all the way to the right. And if I now update, we just get a straight line more or less here and an amplitude there. But now we can make adaptive changes. So let's take the coarse one down to about 400 and the fine to about 10. And now you can see what happened. That we have adaptive filters. Now, those adaptive filters give us segmentation that we may be more or less happy with. Let's look again by increasing filter. Here is our introductory notes. Here are the first 3 notes here. Here is one syllable. Here is another one. And we have pretty nice segmentation of everything, but you can see two problems. One of them is that in those two ends, we have segments of really no sounds. That's a weakness of this method that will practically amplify differences even in silence. To get over that, we are going to put some minimal amplitude that we require for segments. So here we are, we just set a minimal requirement, which is practically enough to kill the wrong segments without really affecting anything else. So now go back to our filters. You know, we can see the introductory notes, the first 3, these guys, and so forth. Now, this is already quite good. Of course, you may want to have finer segmentation here too. Now, one other threshold that you have is right here, the central one. If it's all the way up and it's set on 0, that means that we are only going to segment when the black, namely the fine, is above the coarse, which is the white. We can give it a little bit more tolerance, which you can see makes some sense. As I'm going down, give it more tolerance, I can do better detecting these guys right here. And of course, we can play with those parameters. For example, if I take the fine all the way down to 0, then I can actually grab those quick changes here. And again, if I'm going to only allow segmentation when the black is above the white, you're going to see that we are already having some segmentation here, although you may argue that this is not a good one, and I would agree. In order to get better here, one thing that you can try to do is practically advance the window a little bit more slowly. And here we get a slightly better segmentation, or try to add to that finer FFT windows and see if this is going to help us in getting some finer segments. You can see that it's not easy in those very, very fine segments, no matter how far we go with the FFT, but you can see that overall we can try to play with those and changing how adaptive the two are. For example, making the course finer will get the worse adaptive here, and again we can get more and more fine segments as we need.